Kia ora koutou. Welcome to another edition of the Hot Air Sports Podcast with me, Macca, and my good mate Mahona. How are you today, Aaron?
Oh, I'm bloody good, mate. Bloody good. I'm back in the big city, in the city of sales, after a weekend down in Greytown, celebrating your, shall we say, we're up in the large numbers now, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm a sexagenarian.
You are a sexagenarian, mate. You've been a sexagenarian for years, to be fair, but no, officially you are. We were down there celebrating with you, and what a great birthday it was as well.
It most certainly was, yep, I don't think. Unless Alzheimer's or dementia gets it, that one will live long in the memory.
Absolutely, mate. That was absolutely fantastic. So many great old faces. It was absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, looking forward to 61.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'll wait till my 70th before we do a proper celebration.
Yeah, it may take that long for us to recover.
Judging by the way it takes us to recover, maybe it might be an afternoon tea.
We're not as young as we used to be, are we? As we thought we are.
Yeah. And some of those, we won't go into those stories anyway.
No. Let's get into
here
sport.
To talk about sport because there's so much of it going on at the moment. The football season started.
Underway. Premier League
again, and yes, we're a wee bit more hopeful this year than perhaps we were last year with as Liverpool fans. But we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, it's silly season. Transfer windows still open for another week.
Mm-hmm.
Just quickly rush through some of the bigger signings so far. Liverpool, Alexis McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai, Wataru Endo. That was a bit of a surprise, that one. But
that was their field.
In the 30 minutes we saw of him on the weekend, he looked pretty tidy. Arsenal, Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, and Urian Timber. Chelsea, basically everybody Liverpool was chasing, including Moises Caicedo, Romeo Lavia, and there's so many others. I'm not even going to go to list them. Man City, Mateo Kovacic from Chelsea, and Josko Gvardiol. I've not heard too much about him, but he's a ball-busting central defender by all accounts. From
he's the one that Messi ran past in the World Cup, mate.
Oh, right,
left-sided.
And they've just signed Jeremy Doku from Rennes, who's apparently a lightning fast winger. We'll see how he goes in the Premiership. Across the city at Old Trafford, they've signed Andre Onana, Mason Mount, and Rasmus Højlund, who's injured already. So I don't know when we're going to see him on the field.
They haven't got a striker, mate. What are we going to do? They've got Rashford still playing up the front. Maybe they'll get Mason Greenwood back. Oh, no, they won't. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Won't talk about that.
And Newcastle, they've been fairly quiet. I thought they would have had the checkbook out big time this transfer window, but they've only really picked up Tino Livramento from Southampton and Sandro Tonali from AC Milan, who looks a really good signing. And they picked up a Chelsea youngster, Lewis Hall, on loan. I don't really know too much about him.
He's only 18 years old. He's a good player.
The big news, though, from down Tottenham Hotspur way is Harry's gone.
Bye-bye, Harry.
Harry's gone.
Obviously, he's gone. Obviously, he's gone to Bayern Munich, hasn't he?
Obviously,
scored on his debut.
Yep.
I think it's a good thing for Tottenham. I mean, they were everything was about Harry Kane.
Yeah.
And now it's all about Ange, what he can do. It's Ange ball at Tottenham.
Ball.
And in the second game, they beat Man United. So, hooray! Spurs are on the way, and and now they can build a side, rather than just be focused around Harry. And I think that's the style that that Ange likes to play as well. It's more team focused, isn't it? So, man, they could be a wild card this year, man. I mean, I know they haven't signed a lot of players, like you say, and Harry's gone, but yeah, they will hang in there. They're going to be a different proposition than they have been over the last couple of years with a couple of defensive managers they got. Ange just won't play that way, and it's going to take a little while for them. I think they will concede goals to start with. It took Ange a little while to get that right at Celtic, but I think he's the best manager they've had for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of confidence that
very pragmatic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, who do you think the happiest person in England is now that Harry Kane's left the Premiership?
Oh, I don't know. Who's that?
Oh, it'd have to be Alan Shearer.
Yeah, but Harry can always come back.
He
Can't
can, but he's not getting any younger.
No, that's true. That's
Still
true.
needs another 50 odd goals to eclipse Shearer's record, but you know, 3 good seasons and he could have it. But
Yeah.
he's gone off to.
I guess it proves. It's not in football. It shouldn't really ever be all about records, individual records. It's about team records. Get yourself some medals, son. He's been at Tottenham for over a decade. He hasn't won anything. So I mean, go to a club where you can win some stuff. I mean, last year he probably had the chance to go to Man United, didn't he? Didn't take that.
And Man City.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's a bloody good move for both club and country, and for Harry Kane himself. For me, yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I total agreement. I think it's probably the best thing that could happen to Spurs. In all honesty, and of course he's just his wife's just had their 4th child. So
really?
He's going to be a busy boy around the house helping
they're
out.
They're all called Harry, aren't they?
Obviously.
Obviously. Harry Kane Jr. the first, Harry Kane Jr. the second.
Quite right.
So what have you made of Liverpool's transfer business then? We've only signed 3 players. They're all midfielders. Endo, of course, he came out of the blue, didn't he, after Caicedo got shut down and didn't want to come to us, and didn't he have a great debut for Chelsea? Gives away a penalty, gave away a couple of passes for assists for the other side. I was like, ooh, I think
Poch is looking for the receipt on that one. Give him back within 7 days.
Yeah, I think you might try to. But and really, all that transfer business, all that transfer business out of Brighton, and Brighton at the top of the table. I mean, the football that Brighton are playing is just phenomenal, mate. They're just absolutely awesome. Matoma scored that goal over the weekend. I don't know whether you saw it.
Took goal.
Took it from the halfway line almost and dribbled past about 4 or 5 players. It's just an awesome goal. They are a fantastic side to watch, and it doesn't seem to matter who they sell. They just bring in someone else, don't they? So they're doing so much great work in the transfer. Well,
they've got that new young player that they picked up from Liverpool over the summer. The young lad that plays in the middle of the park.
Yeah, James Jim Milner. Milner. That's the guy.
Milner.
Yeah. He looks a prospect, a real prospect.
Yeah.
That guy, young man, good engine. Good engine.
Quite right. Yeah. What did you think of the hijacking of the moves by Chelsea on Caicedo and Lavia?
Nothing surprises me with them, mate. I mean, first of all, the Caicedo one, I sort of get it because they were in the market for him before us, so I get that one. Although when the player turns around and says he doesn't want to come to Liverpool, don't get that. Why would you want to go to a smaller club like Chelsea? No idea. And then the Lavia one, maybe he was pissed off that we didn't bid enough money to start with. Maybe that's what it was. Who knows? But in the end, we've got a defensive midfielder from Japan. And like you say, being from Japan, he is very tidy.
Yeah. Now, there's also some other names being floated around for Liverpool to still do a bit more business in the transfer window. Do you think these other ones are going to happen, or is it just the media trying to talk it up? Because
who the hell knows, man? I mean, you think you know, and then you don't. It's just like that Endo one came out of nowhere. We could sign 3 players before the end. We could sign none. I just have no idea. I would love to get we need a proper defensive midfielder. For me, Decore is the obvious one from Crystal Palace. He's the most that fits our style, I think, perfectly. He's a big destroyer in midfield. He can still make a pass, all that sort of thing. But it sounds to me like Palace are just putting the price up and up and up and up. And who can blame them, really? They know we've got 110 million back in our back pocket, don't they? So So who knows? I just don't think we're going to be held to ransom. There's also that guy. What's the kid's name from Brazil that we're looking at buying?
Oh, Andre.
Andre.
I don't think they want to release him until they've been knocked out of the Copa.
That's right. He's got a 30 million release fee, though, or 40 million, I think it is. So if we pay that, he'll have to go. But apparently, we're not willing to pay that either. So who knows? Who knows?
I watched the Palace Arsenal game the other day, and I just after watching that game, I'm sure Palace added another 10 million onto the
Absolutely.
price tag. He was fantastic.
I know, mate. He's so athletic. He's so dynamic. He's everything we need. I mean, that is the thing is, when you watched us the first couple of games, you know, we played McAllister in defensive midfield, and he's a great player, but he's no defensive midfielder. And I think that's half the reason he got sent off as well, which is great. The appeal's been overturned, so he will be able to play against Newcastle on the weekend. But yeah, it's the thing that our team is really lacking, and it really makes a difference based on the way that we play our football, the style we play. We really need someone there to sweep up all the rubbish, and at the moment we just don't have it. And putting Trent, you know, playing that box midfield of the 2-2-2, putting Trent in there is great. But you saw in the weekend when Van Dijk pinged that pass to him and he couldn't control it. It's just dicing with death. I just don't know why we do it. I just think we need to go back to until we get our shit sorted, go back to the 4-3-3 that we know well. Put Trent back on the right, you know, in his usual position. But we need a defensive midfielder to do that, like a world-class one, like we had Fabinho. And Decore, for me, he's the one. But whether we're going to pay the money, mate, that's the thing. You never know with Liverpool, do you?
Well, that's exactly right. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. A couple other names that have been mentioned: Ryan Gravenberch from Bayern Munich, who's also been linked with Man United, as has Sofian Amrabat, the Moroccan midfielder who had a tremendous World Cup. He was outstanding in Qatar. And also Man City's Calvin Phillips has been mentioned. Can't see that one happening. I can't see City selling to a rival. So
yeah, I don't think that'll happen.
Keep our eyes on that one. But of course, it is that time of year, the beginning of the season, and it's time for some predictions.
Oh no! Don't go back and listen to our podcast last year, because some of our predictions,
ones,
they were bloody shocking, mate. They were bloody shocking. My prediction: City to win the league.
Okay.
I mean, you just can't go past that. I mean, it's just they've got the best side, so I can't see that changing. The bottom three's a bit difficult, though, isn't it? I mean,
let's get the rest of the top four sorted first.
Okay, there's actually a top five this year, isn't it? Because all five teams are going to make it through the Champions League. So let's go top five. My top five. Okay, I'll have City winning, and then in no particular order. Can we do that?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll have Liverpool, Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm just writing mine down.
Liverpool, Arsenal. I'm going to go, okay, here's a couple of controversial. I'm going to go Brighton and Tottenham.
Wow.
My top five. Because I really think Man United have got problems. I do. I really think they've got issues. I just don't think they're a proper team still. Even after all the money they've spent, I just think they're lacking in certain areas, and other areas they're aging. And the other team that may be coming through, Chelsea, I just still don't have any confidence in them. They may come through, but it's just a toss-up. And for me, what I've already 2 games, I've seen enough that Ange is going to get some sort of song out of Tottenham. And Brighton, man, I just think they're great. I just love their style. So there you go. Those are my top 5. Probably wrong, but hey.
Yeah. Well, I've gone very similar.
Ooh.
With 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I've City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, and I think Newcastle will be in there again.
Yep, Newcastle. That's probably a good shout. Probably a really good shout. Yeah, they didn't start that well, did they?
Well, they're going to get beaten this week.
I mean, they did start well. They thrashed Villa at home, didn't they? They looked pretty good in that first game, but then, of course, they played City. They just couldn't get the ball off City, and that was the problem there. But they are, Newcastle looked really, really good, especially in midfield. Tonali just looked, what are they calling him? Tunali.
Tunali.
Eddie Howe, he knows what he wants. He goes out and gets the players he wants for certain positions. He also signed another Ari on the wing, wasn't it? The other
Harvey
Elliott.
Harvey Barnes.
Harvey Barnes for the other wing position, and he's taken St. Maximum's position, who I really like St. Maximum, but he never really did anything. He always looked good, but he never really produced anything on the field. And whereas Harvey Barnes is someone who's the complete opposite. He doesn't look that great, but he scores goals and gets assists. So, yeah, you're probably right. Newcastle's not a bad shout. Newcastle, Brighton, toss up, and then we've got our relegated teams, don't we?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to go Luton.
Yep.
Sheffield United.
Yep.
And Everton.
Yeah, same three as me.
Really?
Yep.
Everton just look horrible. And they've still got Ashley Young as their any team that's got Ashley Young as their best signing of the summer.
Yeah,
20
I know.
in this year of our Lord 2023. I mean, maybe in 2013, but 20. Yeah,
no,
I think they're
really
real trouble.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only other one I had that likely may struggle
was
I did think Wolves, but they've actually impressed me in their first couple of games.
Eh? Yeah, definitely. Against they looked really good against United. They were really unlucky.
Yeah. And from the Championship, who just name one team you think will come up?
Leicester.
They've started well.
They have, and I think that they're well coached. I just think that they're on. I just think that they're good enough to come up with the team they've got. You got another team that you think will?
Yeah, I'm backing Leeds United to come straight back up. They've got a pretty good coach in Daniel Farker.
The soft-spoken German.
Yes,
he has a very soft-spoken voice.
So there you go. We've covered off a bit of ground there.
Yeah, and then of course the dross in the middle, all the dross. I think Villa will be up there this year.
I was just going to say Aston Villa will threaten.
Yeah, that's actually quite a few teams, isn't it? Because really, when we're missing out on the top five, even neither of us have got Man United, Chelsea, Villa. You've got Newcastle. I've got Newcastle. Those are all good. So really, we're looking at a top half, aren't we? Almost a top 10, almost.
Yeah,
eight or nine teams that could really, or 10 teams that could really be fighting for that top five, and then at the bottom, all the rest are just sort of trying to make sure there's 3 teams worse than them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we'll come back to those in May and
see how badly we did.
But yeah, we're not going to repeat last year's predictions.
No, you'll have to go back and find that yourself.
We talked quite a lot in the last podcast a month or so ago. It was right at the beginning of the Women's World Cup. Huge success, mate, in my eyes. Unbelievable to see all the full stadiums. Just brilliant. They priced the tickets right. Well done, FIFA.
Who knew, eh? Who knew? Who knew that if you price tickets? I mean, I went on there to find a quarterfinal ticket in Wellington. This was obviously 3 or 4 weeks beforehand, but you take your time to get your ticket early. 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, I thought, oh God, this is going to cost me $200 or $300 for the tickets. Went on there, went for the best tickets I could find. They were $50 each. The best on half, just on halfway up the. I was like, wow, how much? The cheapest ones were $20.
Yeah.
I mean, this is for a women's the biggest women's sporting event in the world.
Yeah.
And that's how much they are. I couldn't go to an NPC game for that. National Provincial Championship Rugby. So our provincial, so the third tiered New Zealand rugby comp costs me more to go to the games. Take note, New Zealand administrators. You want it, and it looks great on TV when the crowd is in there, doesn't it? It looks great.
How good does it?
Take note.
I went to 2 games at the Wellington Stadium. And both games absolutely chocker, freezing my bollocks off.
Pneumonia later. Yeah,
I did end up bloody near getting pneumonia. But yeah, just such a great atmosphere.
Yeah,
you go to an All Black test. All Black.
Black.
Blokes.
I know.
The 2 games we went to, the Football Ferns against the Philippines crowd were just unbelievable.
Brilliant,
And of
eh?
course, when they scored, they just went berserk.
Yeah.
And then the USA-Netherlands game, we did get a lot of USA. But the Netherlands crowd were just brilliant. And walking to the ground,
Yeah.
from the city, it takes, I don't know, 20 minutes to walk from, the bars along the waterfront up to the stadium. But just walking behind a group of 300 or 400 Dutch people with their flags and drums, and it was just, and we were with some friends from Greytown, and he's an Englishman, good solid Ipswich fan, and he's like, "This is just great. This is like going to a game in Europe."
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm like, "Yeah, it is. It's just
Yeah.
brilliant." And no bullish behavior at the grounds.
No.
No pissed up idiots trying to jump on the back of a wheelchair and hit your ride or anything like that, and just really well behaved crowds. And
Yep.
yes, I know the game. One of them was in the afternoon, so that probably helped. But just to see those stadiums full, and 48,000 at Eden Park or 43,000 at Eden Park
for a women's football match. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's absolutely crazy, man. They showed us how it was done. I mean, the international guests definitely showed the New Zealand, but the New Zealand supporters gave as good as they got. They were making noise. Even in Dunedin. Dunedin, I heard the crowd. A football crowd, no less, in Dunedin. I mean, they bought the game to, we actually talked on a previous podcast, didn't we? We talked and we said, I don't think most New Zealanders have any idea how big this event is going to be. And by the end of it, now, I think all of us can say, I think we're all so proud of how, we all bought into it. When we were down there for your birthday, we were all talking about the Women's World Cup, and a bunch of guys in a room talking about women's sport, man. I mean, that's just unheard of. I was waking up in the morning if I missed a game the night before. Be the first go-to, wouldn't it? That's just engagement in a tournament, and it's just, sometimes it's the simple things, man. Ticket pricing, fill your stadiums. It looks better on television. More people watch it. Simple things. I just wish our local administrators in other sports could take note and go, right, there you go. That's how it's done. Okay, we may lose a little bit of money at the game by pricing the tickets at this amount, but we're going to fill up the stadium. It'll look better for broadcasters, look better for advertisers, and it's going to be better for the sport, Instead of going, no, we need this amount of money. We have to get this amount of money at the game. And you only get the key people every single time. It'd be nice to get walk-up crowds, I just don't understand why local administrators can't take those lessons, man, because that was a fantastic international event that's been perhaps the best international sporting event ever in New Zealand.
And New Zealand Rugby, whoever does the draw for the NPC, had probably the top Ranfurly Shield challenge of the season, Wellington versus Tasman, at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday night. And there would have been hundreds of people there.
Hundreds of people and a couple of dogs.
Hundreds of people.
And the score. I saw the score this morning. 7-0. Man, they banged 7 goals past them. They did pretty well. They must have a pretty good side. 7-0. I think that's the lowest scoring game of rugby in New Zealand since the 1950s or something like that. It's crazy. But yeah, once again, the New Zealand rugby administrators, what are you thinking? How is that? What? Why? Just don't get it. It's Tasman, who is one of the best NPC sides. Playing Wellington for a Ranfurly Shield game. Put it in the weekend, charge everyone $5, fill the stadium. I don't get it.
Gee, there's an idea.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep. Preaching to the converted. But bravo. We don't say a lot of good shit about FIFA, do we? But
no.
Bravo. Let's go FIFA. Well done. Well done, FIFA. You did bloody well with that women's tournament. And let's just quickly cover off the tournament itself, shall we? The football on the field. What did you make? Obviously, The USA got knocked out a lot earlier than we thought they would. Some big upsets. Obviously, Japan early on beating Spain was a massive upset. And obviously, Spain going on to win the whole bloody thing. I thought Australia were the darlings of the tournament, obviously. New Zealand starting off with a hiss and a roar. What did you make of the football on the field, mate?
I was actually quite impressed, to be perfectly honest. And the games live were actually a lot better than what they were watching them on TV. You just saw what was going on around the whole field, and not knowing the players out there, it was really good to see some of the football that was played. And the goal that Sam Kerr scored against England,
dude,
that was just unbelievable. She picked up the ball on halfway, ran and just unleashed from 25 yards, and it was absolutely magnificent goal. And there were a couple of others like it earlier in the tournament that they've just got the ball out, a long way out, and thought, I'm just going to have a smash and see what happens. 1-0.
Yeah, absolutely amazing, wasn't it? I mean, and poor old Sam Kerr had the chance to make it 2-1 as well a few minutes later and missed that, and then the bloody Poms, didn't they? And then of course England, everyone thought it was coming home, and instead it was going to Barcelona instead, wasn't it? I mean,
off to Ibiza.
Yep, off to Ibiza, and then the antics from the Spanish guy afterwards. He decided, quite fancy this girl. I'm going to bash her right on the lips in front of everyone. It's like, whoa! Is he married to her? What's going on there?
Just a bit over exuberant.
Very strange, but But yeah, bravo Spain. They just looked so good in that final, didn't they? They just passed it around. They play a lot like their men's side. They're just triangles, and the English just couldn't get the ball off them. I thought that was they played the best football at the tournament, and really England had nothing to complain about. Spain were definitely the better side in that final.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done also to Sweden, who actually played some really good football throughout the tournament as well. They finished third, beating the Matildas, obviously, in that third and fourth place playoff. But I think there was quite a few teams that would have gone home with their tails between their legs. As you mentioned, the USA knocked out early. Netherlands knocked out early. That was the last final 4 years ago. Germany were ranked second in the world. France going out in that exciting penalty shootout.
That was crazy.
That was crazy watching that one. Lots of.
And then there's teams like the Japan and Colombia who just looked phenomenal. Just some incredibly skillful athletes and women, and I just think, hopefully it's inspired the next generation too. I can't imagine why it wouldn't have. Great to see so many young girls out there, and boys as well. Great to see boys watching the sport and being excited by women's sport, because back in our day, and when we were young boys, we would have gone, "Oh, it's girl, when girls play," And now it's like, who cares? It's good football, So it's great. It was just so good to see.
And look at us talking women's sport on the Howler Sports Podcast.
Isn't that awesome?
Anyway, on to a subject that we wish we didn't have to speak about, because they just continue to get it wrong and wrong and wrong. The VAR, TMO, bunker, third umpire, call it what you like. All sports brought in the technology to get rid of the howler, only to be used when supposedly on-field officials had made a clear and obvious error. But because humans are still making decisions, it really hasn't made a difference, and we still see howlers. How can we fix this?
AI is the way to fix this. Let's get rid of the people altogether and just get computers to decide it, because people are stupid. I mean, what the hell are they thinking? Let's just take the McAllister red card, yellow card thing. I can understand the ref going, okay, I think that's a red card. But when it goes up to the VAR, he sees it's not a violent act. Why doesn't he just tell the ref to go and have a look? The ref can then go and have a look and go, no, I saw it. I know exactly what I saw. He can make his own decision at that point and just say, okay, I thought that's exactly how I saw it. It was a red card. And no one would say, okay, well, he had a look. He decided that was it. But to not even give him a choice to go and check that is just, I just think they're more interested in covering their own asses for their initial decisions than getting decisions right. It's more about, oh, I made that decision, and because I made that decision, now I'm going to stick with it, and be more bloody minded about sticking with that decision than actually making sure that the decision is right. And that's the whole reason we bought bloody VAR in the first place, was to get it right. It's incredibly frustrating, especially in football and especially in the EPL. Oh, they're supposed to be the best league. They've got the best players. They're always going on about being the best thing. They've got the worst referees in Europe. Why can't they buy the referees from other nations? If the local referees aren't good enough, go and buy some from Serie A, from La Liga, from wherever, and bring them over. The best referees, get them refereeing in the EPL.
Well, I'd go as far as saying that referees shouldn't be in charge of VAR. I think you should have former players.
Yeah, absolutely. Or people that are just specialists with the monitor.
Yep. Former players, you can't rule on a game for a team that you used to play for.
Yep.
So, someone, I'm just plucking names out of the air here. So Steven Gerrard could not rule on a game that involves Liverpool, but he could rule on pretty much every other.
Or United.
Maybe he shouldn't rule against Man United either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, exactly. I just do not understand why those people making those decisions, are more empowered to make those decisions instead of saying, oh, no, he made that decision on the field. I just don't understand. Well, I do understand. They're just trying to cover. They're not really interested in making great decisions.
I don't want to make my mate look bad.
That's right. And should that be the problem? Are you making him look bad? Aren't you just correcting the decision? I mean, it's so frustrating that we bought this thing in to make the game better, and in fact, it's made it worse in some regards. Some of the handballs, just don't get it. I just don't.
I mean, I've just listed a few things here. The Andre Onana foul versus Wolves. The goalkeeper took out the
players,
and so Wolves get an apology from Howard Webb. Oh, that makes it all better.
That'll stop us being relegated at the end of the season.
There was the handball by Chelsea against Liverpool.
Yep.
There was a handball by Spurs against Man United.
There was.
And there's been
the Romero one, wasn't it? Yep.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I just don't get it. I think, are you interested in making the game better, or are you interested in protecting each other? And at the moment, it's reverse engineered to make them just look better. I actually, watching the Women's World Cup, I think FIFA have got it better. They've got it closer to correct than the EPL. I like the idea of the referee saying, okay, this is what I've seen and I'm changing my decision, even though some of those women could do some voice training. Oh, God, they're so good. Oh. It's just like, my God. But I like the idea, and I like the idea of just sending the ref to the monitor. Let them have a bloody look.
Yeah.
EPL seem to be so, no, we can only do this if it's a very, very clear and obvious. They always go for these semantics about clear and obvious and all these sorts of things. Yeah, so how can they hold themselves up as the best league, when they've got the worst officiating?
The thing is, it's not just immune to football, though, is it? We've seen this week a judiciary rescind Owen Farrell's red card for a shoulder charge.
And haven't they... Now they've given it back to him? They've given it another...
IRB have intervened and retried it, and he's been given 4 weeks ban.
Yeah.
Because Billy Vunipola did exactly the same thing in the game on the weekend and automatically got 4 weeks. So why did Owen Farrell not get anything? And so the same judiciary has given Vunipola 4 weeks. Farrell's got a history of doing that.
I know he does. Yeah. He's English.
History of doing that.
He's English and he's white. Oh.
And he's their captain.
Yeah. It's crazy. I'm just glad that in the end the right decision got made.
I don't know if you saw George Moala's tackle for Tonga.
No, I didn't see that.
The guy, but he flipped him straight onto his back.
I did see that. Yes, it just went. Yeah, I did see that.
10
And
weeks.
he got the red card, didn't he?
He got a red card and 10 weeks, which has
that's
now
crazy.
been reduced to 5.
Yeah.
But the player wasn't hurt.
It was an accident. That was, he flipped them underneath. It was a bit like the Chance Nickel Klokstad tackle. It was an accident. Yes, it was dangerous, but it was an accident. And I just think that sometimes, especially in games like rugby and rugby league, they have to take that accident side of it into the equation. Did the guy intend to grab the guy and drive him into the ground, or was it an accidental contact of limbs and the guy went flying? And because if it's an accidental contact, if it's like, he's attempting to make a legal tackle and it goes a little bit wrong, surely you shouldn't get punished to the same extent as if you went in there to just thump the guy. Surely. But
exactly. So as you've said, I think AI is probably about the only way we're going to start to get these things right.
Yeah, mate.
I think they
cut out the human aspect, eh? You just got.
Well, they did have that graphic that they showed during the World Cup for offsides, and they used it during the Men's World Cup as well.
They did,
and it quite clearly showed. But again, I thought the Premier League were changing offside this year to just the feet.
So did I. But now they've said that, is that coming in next year? I don't know.
Why?
See,
why do they need to wait?
How is someone getting an advantage if they're, I think if we go by the feet, if we just went by the feet, it would just be so much easier.
Yeah.
There's the feet. There's no other little part of his body, you just go by the legs,
Yes, we'll still get the toenail offsides, but
of course,
at least we know
that
it's the feet. And
that's right.
I mean, the one that highlight worst to me was that Patrick Bamford one last year when he was pointing where he wanted the ball to go.
And they did it from his sleeve.
And they did it from the sleeve of his arm. It's like, oh, come on.
I know. Yeah.
Anyway, onwards and upwards.
Mate.
Enough of that rubbish.
Yeah, don't mention the bunker. Because
onto the rugby league. Now,
rugby league!
There's only, 2 games to go in the...
2 games to go in the regular season, mate. 2 games to go.
And the Warriors are third from bottom, is it? No.
Careful,
They're
son.
Third.
Careful, son.
They're third. What the heck is going on?
We've flipped the table upside down, haven't we, mate? We've given it a bit of a shake, and look at the Warriors. They're right at the top, mate.
Who was it said at the beginning of the season that the Dolphins wouldn't finish bottom, that the Warriors would?
He can go get stuffed, whoever that was, mate.
Yeah.
Nathan Hindmarsh said the Dolphins wouldn't win a game all season. So, and then after 10 rounds, they'd won 7 games or so. He's so wrong. But, mate, how good are the Warriors going? They beat the Seagulls. I actually went to the game last Friday evening. It was a fantastic game. They beat the Seagulls 29-22. They made it look harder than it was. 6 in a row. 6 in a row we've won now.
I need to let you into a little secret.
Go on.
I put money on the Manly to win.
Oh, you didn't. You didn't.
They were paying $4.50.
Oh, that's hilarious. Good for you, mate. Good for you. Thank you, TAB. Saw you coming. 6 in a row for the Warriors, mate. First time in 20 years that the Warriors have won 6 in a row. I'm in no doubt at all now, mate. The Warriors are there. It's our year, mate. It's our year. We're third on the table. We played 22. We've got 36 points, only below the Panthers and the Broncos. They're both on 40 points and just above the Storm on 34 points. Rounding out the top 8 currently, Sharks, Raiders, Knights, and Rabbits. All 4 of those sides have been up and down all season, and they're bloody lucky to be in the 8. With the Cowboys, Roosters, and Eels still fighting just below the 8 to make the 8. Now, with only 2 weeks to go before we hit the playoffs, the Warriors play St. George tomorrow at Mount Smart. That should be another big one. Sold out again, and then away to the Dolphins to finish. But a top 4 place looks well and truly locked in this year. Complete change from the previous years where we always had to get our calculators out just to make sure that we might have had a mathematical chance. But now it's just looks bloody great with only 2 weeks to go. Top 4 place is vital. Now, this is the way that it works. Now, this is the way that the playoffs work. It used to be the McIntyre system, but they've changed that now. So the first qualifying final is the first place team plays the 4th place team. So at the moment, that would be the Panthers playing the Storm. And then we would be playing the Broncos in the second qualifying final. Now, the way that works is the winners of those games go straight through to the qualifying finals. They get a week off and straight through the qualifying finals. So if we can beat the Broncos in our first week, if we finish in the top 4, if it finishes as is, we will actually have a week off and go straight through the qualifying final, 1 game away from a grand final. So that's how important it is to finish within the top 4. And if they don't win that game against the Broncos, the next week they will have a home semi-final. So now the thing with the home semi-finals is now the NRL's come out and said, oh, we want the home semi-final to be at Eden Park because there's 55,000 we can squeeze in there, whereas Mount Smart, you're only going to get 25,000 or 30,000. And the Warriors have said, well, we want to play it. We've been playing all year. It's a great ground. We're used to it. And the NRL saying, well, you don't make that choice. It's a semi-final. So even in the semi-final, when it comes to semi-finals, it looks like they're going to try and take something off us. But hey, it's a nice problem to have, isn't it? Nice problem.
Oh, absolutely. And really, will it make that much of a difference?
It can. It can. I mean, Eden Park is just... look, mate, I've been to a Rugby League World Cup final, Eden Park. It made a difference to the Australians.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple of Warriors games at Eden Park. I can't remember. I don't think they've ever won one there. So, I don't know. It's just not a Rugby League ground. I don't know. If they fill it up and everyone turns up in their black Warriors jerseys and they make it like a experience at Mount Smart, then, hey, I'm all for it, mate. But, I just don't know. I just get a funny feeling that making us play at Eden Park might not be the best thing for us. But anyway, 2 players to mention in this Warriors run over the last 6 or 7 weeks, mate. Sean Johnson, of course, he's now 33. He's long been touted as the Warriors' magic ticket to the NRL, and we used to sprinkle the Warriors games with glimpses of that magic. But his game now is so much more controlled and composed. He slows down the game as much as he speeds it up. He goes to the line sometimes really slowly, almost walking to the line, and the teams. He seems to affect the way that they play. They sort of slow down, but he's affecting that. You know what I mean? He's sort of controlling it. The only teams with halfbacks that can control the game as well as him are, funnily enough, the top 2 teams. Nathan Cleary at the Panthers and Adam Reynolds at the Broncos. So that just shows you, man, if you've got a top class halfback who can control the game, you're in with a shout, aren't you? But his consistency this year has made the difference. He's among the best players on the park every single week. And just like the way last week when he dropped the goal, when we didn't even need it, he dropped the goal to make it 7 points, iced the game. And that's the reason that he's the Dally M medalist favourite this week. He's just doing it every single week. And the other player I'd like to mention is another hyphenated name for the Warriors. They seem to be very, very prevalent amongst our team. DWZ, Dylan Watene-Zelezniak, now nicknamed Lionel Richie or Sexual Chocolate, I've heard someone call him, on the wing with that long Jerry curl hair flowing out the back. Man, he missed the first 6 games of the season with injury. He got a hat-trick against the Sea Eagles. He now sits on top of the try-scoring table with Jermaine Osako and Alex Johnson. He's got 21 tries this season, which is pretty bloody good, isn't it? Francis Melly and David Pusitua hold the record for the Warriors with 23, so you think he's a shoo-in to beat that, especially if we get some playoff games. His signature try, of course, is the flying for the corner, putting it down with his whole body out. But last week, that try he scored where he cut in field, banged off one guy, beat another 5 and slammed it down. Reminiscent of Joe Nalomu, mate. It was awesome to see. I haven't seen a better try for the Warriors for a long, long time. And I'm just loving it, mate. I'm just loving seeing Dylan on the wing. So those 2 guys for me definitely, I thought needed singling out for
quite right.
And then there's the game day experience at the ground.
I was going to ask you, mate. I saw the photo of you at the stadium. Was looking out for you on the telly.
Did you hear me?
Oh, absolutely, above everybody else. It's something that probably New Zealand fans aren't used to hearing some of your thoughts.
Certainly not at Mount Smart. I mean, I've been there a number of years when, you could roll a tin can down the thing and you could hear it ding, 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 go all the way. And it wasn't that loud there. But, mate, they make some real noise at Mount Smart. They don't mind making real noise, barracking some real abuse and booing the opposition. That's kind of encouraged at Mount Smart, although the lady behind me did turn around and give me a short, sharp shrift and said, "Don't boo, that's not out." And so I just booed louder. But anyway, in the end, she sort of she warmed to me in the end anyway. And
well,
of course,
most people do, mate. Most people do.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, thanks, mate. The Warriors supporters as well getting dressed up. I saw one guy dressed as Kiss, like the whole rock band Kiss. They had all the makeup on and all the hair. Of course, there's the Spy Wa Men. I'm not quite sure of that one. You're really pushing it out there. Everyone comes dressed as Spider-Man and they call Spy Wa Men. The Mount Smart Joker, they all have atmosphere to it. And before the game, they brought on the old legends as well, which is cool. Jerry Siu and Monty Beetham and a few of the others, and they all got a standing ovation from the crowd. So, recognizing past greats, which is something that obviously we've talked about that New Zealand teams don't do enough. And then the last couple of games as well, had a couple of real American Hollywood stars, haven't we? Jason Momoa and Stephen Adams have been at the ground, which has got the ground all racked up. They love having a few celebrities at the ground. And of course, there's the Pukana Cam, which is always fun at halftime as well, where everyone goes, does the whole thing, which it's just a really, really great vibe at the game. After the game as well, as soon as the final whistle goes, they start playing the Warriors chant, like "We are the Warriors, we are the team," and it's fantastic. And they put the big lyrics up on the big screens, and everyone screams and chants, and it's just a fantastic experience. A real cool thing to do. Go to Mount Smart, support the team, and be part of the vibe and the atmosphere that's going on there at the moment. It's absolutely fantastic. But you can't get a ticket at the moment because sold out for the next couple of games. So that final, that semi-final, if we get a semi-final, home semi-final, well, hopefully we don't. But if we do, man, that'll be the hottest ticket in town for sure. But up the waz.
A lot of talk around that I've sort of heard through the media is about this Andrew Webster and his methods and what he's been doing. And previously we've had Australian coaches, English coaches, New Zealand coaches, and the common theme has been, they don't get the Polynesian players,
don't get the culture,
don't understand the culture.
Yeah.
We've got another Australian. He seems to have clicked so well with the players. I mean, you don't hear any of the bad murmurings. The thing I've really noticed is we're not seeing the CEO on the news anymore.
No. He's basically taken control of all of that, and the owner. The owner, you don't see him anymore either. Yep. It's all the coach. I think the coach has basically said, "Look, I'll talk for us most of the time now," and that's what he does. And he's so calm. He's so, you see Bellamy someone like Craig Bellamy for the Storm, every single week, screaming, yelling, kicking chairs. You never see Andrew Webster even with a raised voice. The most excited I've seen him get was last week when that little girl on the news, when they said, "Oh, who's your favorite team at the Women's World Cup?" and they asked, it was at Breakfast TV, and they went along the queue and they asked the three guys, "England, England, England, up the waz," said the little girl at the end said, "Up the waz." And they showed it to Andrew Webster, and he said, "Oh man, that's fantastic." I mean, one girl's going to have a very proud dad today, and the other three, well, those three dads can do better. That's he's so calm. Also, he's been at the club before, so he was there under Ivan. He's been there as an assistant. He knows the culture. He knows the process, and also the people he gets around him. He's a very, very, very good delegator. He knows what he can do well, and he knows where his strengths don't lie, and he gets people that are already at the club, or people that have that may be a little bit closer aligned to those players to deliver those messages. He's not, he'd have to be up there for Coach of the Year this season. I mean, maybe
think so.
It's hard to go past Ivan Cleary, I know, because they're going for a three-peat and all that sort of stuff. But Cameron Ciraldo, the guy that's the Bulldogs coach, he was the one that everyone wanted. He was the assistant that Phil Gould wanted. He was like, "Oh, he's the real brains at Penrith. We're going to get that Cameron Ciraldo." He's gone to the Bulldogs. He's done nothing. Bulldogs are second bottom. we get this guy in one season. He's turned us around. I'm sure there was other things going on in the background. There were other, smaller things that we perhaps don't see. But my God, everything. This guy's just made every post a winner, hasn't he, mate?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're a dyed in the wool Warriors fan. I'm a fair weather. I'll follow.
Get on that bandwagon, mate. Plenty of room.
And if they're doing badly, I'll slag them off.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, halfway through the season, there was none of this. Oh yeah, we could make the top 8. We could make the 8. The whole season he has been. There's no reason why we can't make top 4. And I mean, I'm sitting there going, top 4,
whatever.
Yeah,
what a dreamer.
Yeah. But he's actually delivering on what he said.
Amazing, eh? Yeah. He's just doesn't pull any punches, calls a spade, and it's what we've needed for so long. It's just so nice to have a team that can hang in there in games and win the odd tight one. It's just so nice to support a team that isn't losing all the time. And then there's the up the wires controversy.
Yeah,
I mean, let's gone Warriors or up the wires. I was at my place of work the other day and walked past someone with a Warriors jersey on and went, up the wires. There were a couple of old ladies and they turned around and went, it's go the Warriors, not up the wires. I was like, geez, why would you really be that concerned about what your team's being called? It's like our team's winning. Be happy,
exactly.
So up the wires, let's go on Warriors. I don't really care. It's our team. We're doing great. We're in 3rd place. Mate, we could be grand final bound, and then it's just 80 minutes away. Who knows?
Yep. And there's everything. I mean, going back to halfway through the season, when Roger Tuivasa-Sheck re-signed.
Yeah.
There's another couple of players joining.
Chanel Harris-Davida's coming back. Yep.
It was all the talk then was of these players coming back and, we'll make the 8 this year. And then next year, we could go on and win. But as the season's gone on, and as you say, 6 wins in a row.
Yeah, man.
There's absolutely no reason why fans can't be saying we could win this year.
Absolutely. We should win these next 2 games. We should win them. That'll be 8 in a row.
Yeah.
Then, essentially, we win the next 2 games. We've won the grand final. We win the thing. We win a qualifying. That could be by the end of the season. If we could win our next 5 games. That's it. That's all we need to do. We win the next 5 games in a row. We're the champions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get me too excited.
Oh, that's all right. We'll bring you back down to earth with the rugby union now.
Oh, okay. Phew.
All Blacks play Springboks at Twickers over the weekend.
Yeah, tomorrow morning, isn't it? Tomorrow morning?
Yeah, tomorrow. Saturday morning.
Oh, Saturday morning. Sorry, Saturday morning.
Be interesting to see how they treat the game. Foster's named pretty much a full-strength squad. I noticed he's only named 2 reserve backs. Obviously,
what about the South African side? Have you seen the South African side?
It's a strong side too.
Is it?
Probably.
So both sides are going in full bore. Yeah.
Okay. It is interesting though. A week before the first game of a Rugby World Cup to
do that.
And then they go out all guns blazing. It maybe they treat it like a pre-season game, and first half will be full on, and then they'll both button off and bring on basically
reserves and stuff
back in the second half. But yeah, again, it'll be
it's an interesting approach, isn't it?
It's a test against South Africa, so
our greatest rival. Well, Sky Sports telling me every single 5 minutes, and it is an interesting approach, but I don't think it's a bad one. To be fair, I mean, you're better to be match fit. We've got a game against France, our first game, and then probably some lesser games.
Yeah.
So you could probably play your dirt trackers or your reserves in those lesser games straight after that first game. So really what you're wanting to do is play your top team now, getting them ready for that very first hard game against France. Yeah. And then you can play whoever the hell you want after that, can't you? So it's probably not a bad move, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, France first up, then Namibia, the might of Namibia.
Exactly.
Italy, slightly harder, but you can still get away with your B team.
Absolutely.
And then Uruguay. So
Exactly.
they'll probably play the B team against Namibia, the A team against Italy,
And
B
then
team against
a
Uruguay,
bit of both maybe at the last one to give
and then you're
players.
into a quarterfinal.
Exactly.
After that.
Exactly. So it's probably not a bad move, is it, to play a strong team like South Africa just before you play France? Because you wouldn't want to play, say, those 3 games before you played France, those 3, Namibia, Uruguay, and who was the other team? Italy. You wouldn't want to play them prior to playing France. I think that people might say, oh, yeah, well, that's a nice lead into France. I don't think so. I think, you want to be battle hardened by the time you play France. And that's probably why he's playing South Africa and playing his top team early.
Yeah, absolutely. Some interesting groups. Let's have a quick look at the groups. We've talked about Pool A. My prediction is New Zealand will beat France in the first game.
Okay.
They won't be worried about it. They'll be worried about when it comes to the business end of the tournament. France.
Yeah.
And we know how much they can switch on and off. From
Absolutely.
Game to game, they can do it. I think France will win the tournament.
Ooh, that's a big call.
Yep. Pool B, you've got South Africa, Ireland, and Scotland, all going for. You'd expect South Africa and Ireland, but Scotland have been playing some good rugby.
They have been playing real well the last couple of years.
And you've also got Tonga in there. Now, Tonga's an interesting one. There's 5 former All Blacks in there.
Yeah, I saw that.
In their team, and a former Wallaby in Adam Coleman, the lock.
And bravo for that too. I mean, really, I'm bloody sick of these guys playing one test for the All Blacks and never being able to play for any other side again. I mean, it's stupid. No, spread it around.
Yep.
Wow, that's a tough group then.
Pool C is also very interesting. You've got Australia, Wales, Fiji, Georgia, and Portugal.
Yeah.
So
well, the Georgians will compete well in the scrums.
Yeah.
They like the
9-man rugby.
That's right. They like the set piece, don't they?
But no, I mean they've been pushing for Six Nations entry for a long time now, and surely, I mean they've had some big wins over the last few years.
Yeah, they have
top notch against top tier nations. So and traditionally they do go well in Rugby World Cups. I mean, as you say, they've got a massive forward pack.
Yeah, I just hope there are some upsets in this World Cup. I mean, Japan beating the Springboks, that was just amazing for the tournament. We need more upsets like that in a World Cup rugby. Like we had in the Football World Cup. We just didn't seem to get them for many, many years. It was always just the top teams running over the... It's slowly coming around, isn't it? The smaller teams are sort of getting better.
Yep, and even Pool D is interesting. You've got England, Argentina, Japan, Samoa, and Chile.
Where's the USA?
They didn't qualify.
I know. No USA.
They got knocked out by Uruguay.
Yeah, crazy, eh? So,
and also no Canada.
Yeah, no North American teams. It's a bit sad, really, isn't it? Considering, the Eagles.
Yeah, because you've got Uruguay
and Chile. I think
Chile
they must have been the teams.
Argentina are all
there. You go. Yeah,
South America.
Yeah, South America representing the Americas.
There you go. I've said I think France will win. What's your prediction?
Who's going to be in the final then?
It's hard to say because
you don't know who's going to qualify top.
I would like to see a France-Ireland final.
Yeah, well, that would probably be the top 2 teams over the last few years. I have a funny feeling the All Blacks could actually do something in this World Cup. For the last couple of years, I've thought we ain't got a shit show, and then what I saw over the summer series just gone, the winter series just gone, I thought there were some promising signs for the All Blacks, especially in the backs. I think we've got some real outstanding talent there, and I really do think the All Blacks could do this, but it's more of a hope than a prediction. So I think France would have to be the favourites. I think France would have to be the favourites. I think a France All Blacks final would be amazing, but can that happen? Can it? I don't know.
Oh yeah,
It
absolutely.
can.
Well,
Even if we play in pool play, we can still make it through the final.
we'll end up on separate sides of the draw.
Okay. Well, there you go. I'll go for a France All Blacks final.
Yeah. I just think with the All Blacks in the Rugby Championship, yeah, we destroyed Argentina over there and we destroyed South Africa here.
Yep.
And then we destroyed Australia.
Yep.
But I saw some signs in that second test against Australia where we only just won it at the end.
We did.
But
we came back.
We did, and we didn't have our top 15 out. But
no.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the first time I've gone into a Rugby World Cup thinking that the All Blacks won't win.
Me too. I mean, that was me, essentially, all the way up to... But I saw more promising signs of the Rugby Championship just gone than the previous 2 years. I really have. I really have more hope for them than I have for the last couple of years. I really think that...
Maybe it's just my subconscious saying I don't want to see Ian Foster after holding the trophy going, see, I wasn't such a bad coach after all.
Maybe you should just put some money on them at the TAV.
Yeah.
then you just don't have to worry. I got money on them if they win. It's all good.
Quite right. Now, across the Tasman, Eddie Jones, true to form at the airport, leaving for the Rugby World Cup.
Oh, you guys are great.
Media, it was worst press conference ever. Worst press conference ever. Well done, guys.
Yeah, well done. You guys are horrible. Mate, he drummed up interest. He's drumming up interest. That's what he does. It made all the rugby league shows. They were like, oh, Eddie Jones going on like this. Oh, he's calculated. He knows exactly what he's doing. The other thing is Shag's joining him.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Dane Coles wasn't too pleased.
That's more of a worry than bloody Eddie Jones having a crack at the media. I mean, I know it's a professional sport, but what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think people are blown it a bit out of proportion. He's only really overseeing a couple of training sessions and is just going to give him a couple of ideas. He's certainly not going to be letting him into any secrets for other teams. Because he's not been around,
Right, boys, let's do a haka. Oh, right. Yeah. You can just imagine him. I'm going to be doing haka training.
So, Shag, you've watched 3 training sessions. What do you think we should do? I think you should flush the dunny and move on.
Flush the dunny and move on. I think you need to play rugby a bit fucking harder.
The thing is, didn't Ted do the same thing with Argentina?
Well, yeah, he's done it with Argentina and he's done it with somebody else. And
I think Steve Hanson's been out of the loop now for what, 5 years?
Well, 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's going to take any, what do they call it? Knowledge, he's not going to take any of that. And I don't think he'll impart any of that. I think all he'll do, it'll be an overseeing thing. It'll be more,
just a bit of
help out stuff.
Yeah.
But then if he does go with them and Australia do well, that's the problem, isn't it? Because then
he's not going to be with them at the World Cup, though. He's just going to a couple of training sessions before they're still in London, I think.
Yeah.
They said he's there for other work. Because hasn't he been employed by a club over there?
Yeah, I think so.
In
the UK. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Anyway,
he's getting paid handsomely for his work, I'm sure.
Handsomely. Cricket World Cup's coming up in October.
Is it? I still haven't got over that last one, mate.
I know.
Still recovering from the sleep deprivation.
I've got a question for you, though.
Yeah.
Why are the Black Caps playing 7 T20s, including 3 against the UAE, and only 4 ODIs in the lead up to next month's ODI World Cup?
Money. That's why, money, because they fill the grounds up for T20s. I mean,
not in the UAE, they don't.
Oh, I don't. Well,
first 2 games were played in front of empty stadiums.
Okay, well, I've got no idea then. I mean, don't start me on the cricket tours, okay? Because I saw the thing coming up for the latest one, the latest future tours or whatever they have with this summer. Here it is, all there's just like 20 games of T20 and about 3 tests, and I'm like,
4 tests.
And the tests are 2 against Bangladesh, isn't it? And 2, no, I think it's 2 against Australia, isn't there?
2 against South Africa, 2 against Australia, but South Africa have said it's during their T20 competition, so they'll be sending a B
side. And none of them in Auckland. So if you're in Auckland, you just too bad if you like Test cricket. I'm afraid you have to drive down to Hamilton. The tours, we were Test champions, and we're still getting 2 Test series. It's just a joke. I just think surely the top tier teams can play 3 Test series, but then they'd have to play only a 3 Test series when they do the Ashes. They can't do that. It's like, how is this a level playing field? It's just not. I understand that they want more, the big teams to play each other more because it's money. It's always money. But surely the best thing for the sport is if every team plays each other the same amount of bloody times. I just don't get it.
Crazy. And I guess the only other question about the World Cup is Kane Williamson going to be ready?
I don't think so. I mean, he's going, isn't he? He said he's going.
Yeah.
But he could be one of those classic cases if he goes and he's just there for, I don't know, morale or something because, it looked like a pretty serious injury. And by the time he gets there, he won't have played any cricket. So,
well, he has been back in the nets now for 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah, that'll help. That'll be just
I guess it's the problem is running and changing direction at the other end.
That's right. And unfortunately, you can't have a runner these days. So, I hope he is. I hope he's fit. Trent Bolt, of course, has been named back in the side, which, thank God, some fucking common sense there. Jesus Christ. I was thinking, oh, no. Trent Bolt's decided this is what he wants to do. So there you go. That's what he's got to do. I'm like, we don't have that much talent that we can just kick someone like him. If he was, can you imagine if we had Richard Hadley these days, and he decided, right, I'm going to go over and play. We should still be doing everything we can to get him in our side, surely. Yeah. I mean, that's the same with Trent Bolt, I'm afraid.
Oh, exactly.
So one world-class fast bowler.
Oh, I totally agree.
Yep.
It's New Zealand cricket though. What do you expect?
Oh, we just lie over all the time. Just ask for our belly to be screwed. David White, apparently he's announced that he's leaving. Woohoo! Not this earth, not this earth, unfortunately. No, just New Zealand cricket.
Yeah.
So we'll just see who they put in charge. Put in charge now, though. I mean, will it be another Gavin Larson lackey or I don't know.
Might even be Gavin Larson.
Oh God, please no. Anyway, that one bat and ball sport to another, mate. What the hell? Let's go to baseball. Let's go stateside to baseball. I've got a question for you, my friend. For you, what the hell's going on with your Yankees, man?
The Yankees suck.
Yankees suck. They are
big
shit.
Time.
They are. Is it 10 in a row?
9 in a row. Thank you.
9 in a row. I mean, you sound like the Warriors in reverse.
Give it another, what's the time now? 11 o'clock. Give it another 3 hours. It'll be 10 in a row.
Why? What's the story? You've got the highest payroll. You've got all the good players. All the sluggers you want. You've got all the fast ball throwers. You got everyone. You got to change the rules. You got a new... What's going on in New York?
That's the problem. No, we haven't got all those. We've got one of each, a good pitcher and a good hitter. Bad team. The general manager's sitting at the trade deadline with his head in the sand, basically. Whereas all the other teams around the same place in the standings all went out and added to their rosters. As you say, currently on a 9-loss run since the trade deadline, where Brian Cashman did absolutely sweet fuck all.
Why did he do nothing? What's the? You don't know. It's a bit like John Henry. It's a bit like John Henry at Liverpool. Why are we not signed a player? Is that
pretty much.
The same? And so, like, what's going on?
Since the trade deadline, they're 5-14.
That's awful.
That was some great decision making there, Cash. Bad trades and free agent choices from Cashman have put them in this spot. And I'm not just talking the last year or so. In 2018, they traded for Giancarlo Stanton,
Hmm.
who had just who in 2017 won the MVP, had hit 59 home runs. He's had 2 decent years in the 6 years he's been at the Yankees. And even then, their first year, he got 40 home runs. The other one, 2 years later, he got 37 home runs. They've still got him for another 4 years and owe him $98 million.
Far out.
They're just going to have to bite the bullet and
Get rid of him.
get rid of him. Well, hopefully somebody will take him and pay some of his salary.
The Yankees, though, you've got this obsession with home run hitters, haven't you? I mean, you got Judge, you got him, you got everyone. What about guys?
The Bronx Bombers.
I know.
The Bronx Bombers.
What about guys that can just get on base, and hit for RBIs? I mean,
yep. The other thing about that deal that Cashman did,
yep,
the year after they got Stanton, so 2019, there was an absolute free agent frenzy with Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, and at least 2 or 3 other future Hall of Famers, which I can't think of off the top of my head. All came up for free agency. And according to Harper, Yankees didn't even pick up the phone to talk to him.
Weird.
Ever since Harper came into the league with the Washington Nationals, it was like, oh, he'll be a Yankee once he hits free agency. He'll be a lot of people thought, he's going to the Yankees, blah blah blah. And trades for others like Oakland pitcher Frankie Montas in July last year. The lad's only pitched 40 innings for the Yankees, none this year.
What has he got? Tommy Johns or something? What's going
Injury?
on?
No, he's just had injury after injury.
Yep.
This one's a belter. This one. Cashman traded with the Minnesota Twins, giving them a productive utility infielder in Gio Urshela, and getting an aging third baseman in Josh Donaldson, who was costing them $26 million a year to come. Josh Donaldson couldn't hit his way out of a wet paper bag at the moment.
No.
Again, on the injured list. Free agent choice of Anthony Rizzo. Don't get me wrong, I do like Rizzo.
And when you signed him, you needed him. I think
but we chose Rizzo ahead of another future Hall of Famer, Freddie Freeman, who ended up going to the Dodgers.
And look at him now.
Yep. And deciding not to trade for another future Hall of Famer, Matt Olson, first baseman, who is leading the major league in home runs this year.
Yep.
Just really, really bad decisions. I mean, some of it goes on to the medical staff for all these injuries that they continually have year after year. Anthony Rizzo was concussed. He was hitting 300 and he got concussed, but none of the medical staff picked it up until 2 months later.
2 months later?
He went from hitting 300, which is your Hall of Famer.
Yeah, awesome.
You hit 300.
Yeah.
To going on a stretch of 1 for 29. 1 hit and 29 at-bats. You just don't do that unless there's something wrong.
They didn't ask him and say, what's wrong? And he goes, well, I don't know which one of the 3 balls to hit. It's coming at me.
DJ LeMahieu, one of their most consistent hitters, stopped hitting. Anthony Volpe, the rookie shortstop, he's hit the most RBIs this year, 50. I mean, yes, Aaron Judge has been out for 60 games, and will overtake Volpe, don't get me wrong, but, at this stage of the season, to have a rookie leading, your RBI. And pitching, Carlos Rodon signed a 6-year, multi-$100 million contract beginning of the year, only just started playing for the Yankees about 6 weeks ago and then got hurt again and has just come back again. He's got an ERA above 7. Just monumentally bad trades and bad free agent choices. And
so is there still a Steinbrenner at the top?
Yes.
Yep.
But
so
he's chalk and cheese compared to
I was going to say, George would have gone down there and sacked a whole bunch of people by now.
Oh, hell yeah.
Is there going to be any accountability like that at the Yankees? Is there going to be someone sort of marching down there saying, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. I'm getting a bunch of new people in because you guys are shit.
I bloody hope so. And so do every other Yankee supporter in the world.
Yeah.
It just needs to happen. Cashman's got to go. But people say, oh, yeah, but he's got a great record. 5 world championships. Yeah, the last one of them was 14 years ago.
Yeah, it's a long time.
You can't ride on the coattails of that for this long.
No.
And there are other general managers out there that are 20 years younger.
And have way more progressive look at baseball, I presume. Yep. I mean, if he's been... So how long's Cashman been there? Been at the Yankees?
He's been there, crikey, since 96.
So there you go. So the game has changed quite a bit since the last time, since the last time he won a World Series, for sure. And I'm sure since he's won the World Series, there's been a lot more young, dynamic general managers out there that are just doing things a lot differently. I mean, that's probably, that'll be a starting point for the Yankees, wouldn't it? Get rid of him, bring in someone new with new, fresh ideas, and you could start again. But man, that's a big rebuilding job. It sounds like the Yankees are just going to be lucky if they can rebuild out of this for next year, mate.
Well, yeah, I mean, Donaldson's salary will be gone. So there's 26 million. I think I saw somewhere where $100 million worth of salaries coming off the books at the end of this year.
Well, don't go and sign the next big home run hitter for 10 years on, just.
So actually, I haven't looked to see who's coming up for free agency this year. But let's get away from the Yankees for a minute.
Okay.
So I'm just going to read out the 5 top payrolls in baseball this year in 2023.
Yeah.
5th is the Dodgers, $222,717,834. Philadelphia Phillies, $243,009,439. San Diego, $248,995,932. New York Yankees, $276,999,872. And the New York Mets, $353,546,854.
So that makes you feel a little bit better because they're worse.
The top 3 payrolls in baseball, Mets, Yankees, and Padres, are not going to make the playoffs.
Unbelievable. See, that just tells you right there. Yes, you do need a young, dynamic general manager that can go out and see through all the numbers and everything like that and go, no, that's the player we need and the position we need and for the period we need.
The 3 teams that are probably going to take their places
are the lowest.
Of the 30 teams in Major League Baseball, Baltimore is the 29th highest payroll. 60,722,000.
60 million. So approximately 200 million less than the Yankees.
Tampa Bay, 73,184,000. And Cincinnati Reds, 83,610,000.
So who are the 3 general managers for those teams? Those should be the people that the Yankees are going out and looking at. Honestly, if you can get a payroll on under 70 million that makes the playoffs in the MLB, you're doing something right, mate, aren't you?
But the funny thing is the Baltimore Orioles owner, Peter Angelos, came out the other day and said when all these young studs that they've been breeding in their farm system come to free agency, they're not going to be able to afford them.
No. So they're basically they just keep them in the farm system, maybe play 1 year in the majors and then ship them on.
Maybe get 1 or 2 signed to a mediocre contract.
But they know what they are, right? They know what they are as a team, and they know exactly the way that they do business. That's phenomenal business done by those teams. Unbelievable, though, doesn't it? It just shows you that it doesn't matter how much money you spend when it comes to a sport like baseball. It's often cyclical. And you can just do smart, data-driven deals, eh?
So at the moment, of those 3 teams that I mentioned down near the bottom, Cincinnati Reds, they're currently not in a playoff spot, but they're only half a game out. Whereas Baltimore and Tampa Bay, they're they're locked into playoffs.
Showings, yeah.
Shoo-ins,
Yeah.
absolute shoo-ins. Oh, yeah, Yankees are bottom of the AL East.
That's crazy.
5.5 games behind the Boston Red Sox.
Wow. You were 5.5 games behind Boston, and Boston are crap.
Yeah. I know. And the Mets, they spent massive amounts of money in
They
the offseason.
did.
They got Justin Verlander to a 2-year deal. They got Max Scherzer to a 2-year deal. Neither of them are now pitching for the Mets.
Unbelievable. It's
Verlander's
just crazy.
gone back to Houston, and Scherzer's now pitching for the Rangers.
Unbelievable, eh? I mean, it just shows you. I mean,
Yeah. So let's have a quick look at who's in the prime positions in the American League. The Orioles, Texas Rangers, and Minnesota Twins are leading the respective divisions. At the moment, Tampa Bay, Houston, and Seattle are in the wild card spots, but only half a game back at Toronto, and then Boston's 4.5 games back.
yeah.
And the LA Angels, we should also mention them.
They kept Ohtani.
They decided not to trade Shohei Ohtani
They did.
at the trade deadline. They're not going to make the playoffs.
No,
They're going to lose him at the end of the season
for nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Yep. And where's he going to go?
Wow. I doubt
The Yankees.
I think he wants to stay on the West Coast.
I think he does too, because it's more friendly to his culture, shall we say. I think he enjoys
so favorites. Favorites are obviously the Dodgers. Giants could be an interest. They've obviously got money because of the money they offered Judge and Carlos Correa.
Yeah.
In the last off season. And
Seattle
Mariners could be an outsider.
They could be. When they had the what was it? The Major
All-Star
League
game.
Yeah, the All-Star game. All the crowd were chanting, weren't
the
they?
fans were giving him a lot of love, weren't they?
They were. And of course, they've got a history with Japanese players in Seattle.
Quite right. So in the National League, Atlanta Braves, by the way, my pick to win the World Series.
Yeah, they're a bloody good side, aren't they?
They're a top side.
Yeah.
Now that's how you construct it.
I reckon. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dodgers in the West and Milwaukee in the Central. Currently in the wild card spots, Philadelphia Phillies, Chicago Cubs, and the mighty Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, they're still doing the business. The Cubs have come from nowhere, though.
They dropped their bundle after the All-Star game.
They did.
But have now, in the last 10 games, they've won.
They've rallied.
8.
Yeah.
And they swept the San Diego Padres in San Diego just last weekend.
Wow.
Which was great. As I mentioned, the Cincinnati Reds, half a game out, and same as San Francisco Giants. And closely followed, a further game back, is the Miami Marlins. So there's still 6 teams fighting for wildcard spots in the National League. So that will be very interesting. And once the Yankees have stopped playing and I can stop crying, I can enjoy a really good playoff series.
Yeah, you can sort of take all the emotion out of it, Macca.
Quite
Just
right.
enjoy the baseball.
Yes,
just enjoy the sport.
Right. Enough of that. Some of the other stuff. Shane Van Gisbergen appears to be off to NASCAR next year. Another top 5 placing or top 10 placing last week. He's given up his ride with Red Bull 888 Racing.
Oh, is he?
Yep. He said he's not coming back. It's easy to get out of that contract when you're dating the CEO.
Yeah, true.
Jessica Dale.
Hey.
Jessica Dane, I should say.
Yeah.
He'll be replaced by Erebus Coca-Cola Racing's Will Brown.
Okay.
Who will be subsequently replaced by Jack LeBrock. While Kiwi Richie Stanaway is going to be back in a full-time drive.
Oh, nice.
He's joining Grove Racing's Penrite team alongside fellow Kiwi Matt Payne to replace long-time driver David Reynolds. Can't quite remember where Reynolds is off to. But Stanaway will actually co-drive with Shane Van Gisbergen over the coming weeks at Sandown and, of course, the great race at Bathurst in early October. Interesting watching the racing over the weekend. And because Brody Kostecki he's the current championship leader in supercars. He went over and raced in that same race that Shane raced in and finished near the end of the pack.
Yeah.
Right down the field.
Yeah.
All the supercars commentators could talk about was Brody Kostecki in the NASCAR race. No mention of Shane Van Gisbergen whatsoever.
Is it because he's a Kiwi?
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of bump and runs which Van Gisbergen got penalised for.
Oh yeah.
Not the racing just gone, but the previous racing. I think it was in Townsville.
Yeah.
And Erebus Coca-Cola Racing kicked up a big stink and had the Van Gisbergen ended up getting a penalty.
Yeah.
I saw 3 exactly the same things happen over the weekend.
And nothing about them.
Nothing happened about them.
So do you think it's any
So it's basically, if Shane did it, it's illegal.
Yeah.
But if somebody else did it,
he's turning into a bit of a pariah, isn't he? Over there. I mean, you can see why he sort of decided, screw this.
Totally. I would make the same decision.
Yeah.
And especially a couple of weekends back. He's still in the race for a championship.
Yeah.
Yet because his teammate Brock Feeney was gonna win the weekend, they made Shane slow down and let
do they do the team's orders?
Team's orders. And Shane's like, I'm still in the race for a championship here. What the fuck's going on?
That's crazy.
You know, and he's second in the championship behind.
Unbelievable. That's weird.
Anyway, now track and field.
Yeah,
How
man.
good did we do at the World Championships?
Zoe Hobbs, what a runner. I mean, she's just been making every poster winner, literally and figuratively.
Yep.
What was it? 1/1000th of a second or 1/100th?
1/100th of a second off making the final.
Ridiculous. It's just such a tiny amount.
Yeah.
She's just phenomenal. What a phenomenal runner. What a phenomenal athlete. She could be anything, mate.
I think the performance that impressed me the most was George Beamish in the 3,000 metre steeplechase, finishing 5th. And what a run to come home and finish 5th.
Unbelievable.
Like 30 metres at the bend behind 5th.
Yeah.
And just absolutely nailed him down the home straight.
It made you think, did you have a little bit more in you, mate?
Yeah.
Come on. Hey. Yeah, what a kick.
And Tom Walsh finished on the shot put. Behind serial winner Ryan Krauser. There was a hope that Krauser may not perform so well because he'd had something wrong with him leading up to the tournament, but no, he just gets out there, throws the shot, and then says, "There you go, try and catch me."
And what about the other young Kiwi, the other shot putter? What's his name?
Jacko Gill.
How'd Jacko Gill? Because
I'm not sure how he went.
He'd been thrown really well. Actually beat Tom Walsh a couple of times, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think he's slowly coming into his own as well as an athlete, as an adult athlete. He was obviously a man and a boy in a man's body for a long time there, and completely different type of personality to Tom Walsh as well, isn't he? He's more of an introvert and all that sort of thing. But I think he's slowly coming around, isn't he? Slowly growing into his own skin as a in the top ranks. And it's good to see those two pushing each other.
Quite right. Now, one that I'm interested to get your take on this one, actually, the Blindside saga has reared its ugly head with former NFL star Michael Orr casting doubt over the Tui family's intentions, bringing him into their family. Who do you reckon's likely to come out better from this spat?
Well, it's hard to know what the real story is here, eh? It's so hard to know. I loved the movie. Did you love the movie?
Absolutely. I've watched it about 10 times.
I mean, I won't have a bad word said about Sandra Bullock. Okay, she didn't do anything wrong. I've heard some people say that she should give the Oscar back.
Yeah.
So, what the fuck? It's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's a fucking movie for a start. You know, it's like, what did she do wrong? It's so hard to know what the story is here, because he's saying basically they didn't adopt me. They're after my money. They're saying we didn't. We helped you out. We didn't take any money. So it's just a real he said, she said until this hits the courts, or it's just so hard to know. What he's
tried it on before, though.
Has he?
Yeah, apparently this is about the 4th time he's tried it on, and he said, if you don't give me $15 million, I'm going to say bad things about you.
Well, you'd think he'd have some money, wouldn't you? I mean,
well, that's what I mean, Michelle and I were talking about it. Yeah. And we wonder if as he's got older and finished playing, you know, he's gone away from the game.
Run out of money.
And yeah, he's been giving it away to all his old mates, and
Yeah.
they've come crawling back and said, "Oh, Michael, remember me? Can I have a few dollars?" And you just wonder whether he's gone through his money, because the Tuies are certainly not short of money. There's no way they would bring him into their family to gain money, because they're multi-millionaires themselves.
I know.
They've probably got more money than Michael Orr could even dream of.
Absolutely. It seems to me, I don't know, I'm just waiting for race to be brought into this whole thing as well. Yeah. That'll be the next thing, won't it? It'll be like, oh, it's because I'm a black man, they've taken advantage of me, and blah, blah, blah. It's just such a he said, she said thing. It's very, very difficult to know. I mean, it was one of those Hollywood ending type of stories, wasn't it? It all seemed a little bit too good to be true. I guess it'll all come out in the wash. I don't know. Will it? I mean, will there be a blindside too? The court case. I mean,
Well, I mean, you look at. I sort of obviously was hooked into the story by the movie, as most of us were. Yeah. And he was still playing, obviously.
Yeah, he was. Yes.
And in his retirement season, I remember seeing photos of all the family at his last game.
That's right.
All hugging and kissing and carrying on, and everything seemed happy families. But it's only since he stopped playing, which was about 5 years ago now, that something's gone wrong.
It's such a shame that how money can just get twisted. This is a sports podcast, but how many times do we come back to, well, what ruined it there?
Yeah.
It's always the bloody money, isn't it? When money comes in, it just seems to ruin shit and corrupt things, and it just becomes mucky and messy. And
Anyway, a sad note and a happy note to finish on.
Go on.
R.I.P. Ron Polinsky, CEO of the New Zealand Sports Hall of Fame, noted journalist, author, and statistician. He passed away aged 78 in Dunedin. A great writer and journalist, Ron Polinsky.
Yeah, very sad. I've got a number of his books in my bookshelf. I used to always have those Ron Polanski on the books. My dad got me onto him at a very early age. He was a great writer, great man, and sorely missed. Very, very sad.
Yes, I actually met him when I visited the Hall of Fame down in Dunedin a couple of years ago. Didn't speak for long, but
I think he was one of those guys, though, wasn't he? He wasn't a speaker. He wasn't much of a speaker.
Quiet, unassuming man, but I mean, once you started talking about sport, you could probably talk all day. And another we thought was an RIP, but it's actually turned out that it's not.
So this is one of these things that it happens quite a bit, but not often in sports.
No.
Where there's a rumor Billy Connolly died. What did he? Look it up. No, he didn't. Rumors. Poor old Billy. Poor old Billy's shocked to learn of his own demise.
Which is what happened to Heath Streak, the former Zimbabwean bowler. Reportedly, Henry Olonga, his former Zimbabwean teammate, put out on Twitter, "Rest in peace, big fella," or something along those lines. Sad loss to the cricket world. R.I.P. Heath Streak. It was reported on Stuff yesterday that
it was actually reported on mainstream news media yesterday.
He passed away, but turns out Heath Streak is alive and well.
Where is he? What's he doing?
Not quite sure.
Where's he been? Obviously not with Henry Olonga.
Obviously not. Yeah.
What's Henry been up to? Henry's a bit of a controversial figure.
He is.
He's been involved in some shady stuff. I mean, just don't be reading Henry Olonga's tweet and New Zealand Herald and stuff. Don't go reporting that stuff until it's confirmed. I mean, people just read a tweet and just believe it's gospel. I mean, read an
Streak had been diagnosed with cancer earlier on this year, but I think he's managed to get through that okay, and apparently is alive and well.
He's only 49 years old.
He's only 49. Unfortunately, he's not involved in cricket at the moment. He received a ban for some dubious goings on with an Indian gentleman named Mr. X.
Mr. X?
Yes.
Maybe he had something to do with Twitter. I don't know.
Perhaps.
It's something to do with Henry Olonga's tweet.
So live well, Heath Streak. We're glad to hear that you didn't pass away. And long may you continue.
Yeah, it's a pity he's not still playing for Zimbabwe, because they could probably do with him.
Probably could.
Because they're pretty average, to be fair. But he was a bloody handy bowler, old Heath
Very
Street.
handy bowler.
Yeah, very handy
Yep.
player. Mm.
Yes, quite right. Anyway, that brings another Hot Air Sports podcast to an end.
Beautiful.
We hope you enjoyed as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Don't forget to log on to vibranceGifts.co.nz and purchase
Buy
your
his
copy
book.
of Life Isn't Fair, but I'll take a bloody good crack at it.
Yeah, it's a fantastic read. I read it last weekend, cover to cover. Absolutely inspiring book. Even if you're feeling at your lowest, it's one of those great books that you can pick up and read, and it makes you feel better. And that's what I loved about it, mate. So, and it'll give you a little bit of an insight into the history of this beautiful man that I talk to every now and again. So, I do highly recommend it. 5 stars. 5 stars.
vibranceGifts.co.nz. Enjoy your copy. Well, that brings it to an end. We don't know when we'll be back. There's plenty of sport going on. Maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a month. Yeah. We'll see what's happening and how Liverpool are doing.
And make sure you drop us a comment, do all that sort of stuff. We love to hear from you.
Quite right. So that's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from him.